Now I'm going to tell you about how to take the tire off a rim. Most people may think that the wheel on a car is the same thing as the tire, but they are two completely different things. The wheel is actually the rim inside of the tire, which can be either steel or aluminum. There can be many reasons for removing the tire. The tire may have had a hole in it and needed changing. It could have been worn out, or the owner could have just wanted to put some different rims on
Pause.
it.
Okay.
This can be a difficult task to perform as a beginner, but you really just have to memorize the steps. It's very simple taking the tire off once you get the hang of it. Make sure you have the right tools to do this task. You may need soap and water for lubrication, a jack stand, an impact wrench or tire iron that is strong enough to remove and tighten lug nuts, and a crowbar or some type of prying tool. In order to remove the tire from the wheel, you have to first remove the tire from the car, break the bead, and then lift the face of the tire. There are small things that you have to do while following these steps, but they shouldn't be too difficult. First, remove the tire and wheel from the car. You will need a floor jack and jack stand to do this. Raise the vehicle in the appropriate spot, otherwise you could damage the bottom of the vehicle. A jack can work when holding up the vehicle, but an aftermarket jack stand may work even better, according to Chris Moore, contributor for eHow. Remove the center cap in order to remove the lug nuts. The center cap is basically a cover for the lug nuts. You cannot remove the lug nuts unless you remove the center cap. Remove the lug nuts using an impact wrench or tire iron. If the wheel uses 5 lug nuts, remove them in a star pattern. If the wheel uses 4 lug nuts, remove them in an X pattern. Once you get the tire and wheel off of the vehicle, you will be ready to start separating the two. Second, separate or break the bead of the tire from the wheel. You will need a breaker bar or a crowbar to do this. Deflate the tire so you can insert the breaker bar in between the wheel and the tire. You will not be able to insert the breaker bar if the tire is still inflated. You risk damaging the wheel and the tire if you try to force the breaker bar in while the tire is still inflated. You need to make sure that the tapered edge of the breaker bar is pointed towards the tire and not the wheel. This can cause damage as well, according to Carl Pruitt, contributor for eHow. This is the hardest part of the whole tire removal process. Once you do this, the rest is easy. Third, separate the tire from the wheel by lifting the face of the tire. After you break the bead, you need to keep the breaker bar in between the tire and the wheel. Rotate the tire so that the bead lifts over the lip of the wheel. Make sure that the breaker bar has the bead lifted high enough. The wheel could possibly cut into the tire if it isn't, according to Michael Herniston, instructor for Snap-Guide. Lubricate the tire so it can be lifted off of the wheel easier. Use a tire lube solution for this. If you don't have a lube solution, soap and water would be the most convenient thing to use. At this point, if you've rotated the tire with the breaker bar, keeping the bead lifted, the whole bead should be sitting above the lip of the wheel. Repeat this process for the other side of the tire. The tire and wheel should be completely separated after this. Overall, removing the tire from the wheel is a fairly easy process. All you have to do is take the tire and wheel off of the car, break the bead, and then just separate the wheel and the tire. The main problem you have to avoid when doing this is damaging the wheel or the tire. Being able to do this yourself can save you some time and money if you do it right. It's easy to master, all it takes is some practice.